Guys, I just love you so much. I read your emails and your comments, and you're just so nice to me. It's like reaching out into the void and being like, hello, I like you, I think you're cool. And then you guys reach back and you're like, same. And it's just a great mutualistic relationship. And I'm all about it. So keep sending me those good vibes. I'll keep thrusting them your way. Violently with happiness. I just love this community. I love chatting about spiritual awakenings and what resonated with you. And this is just me sending good vibes and love because I love you guys. Just wanted you to know. So anyways, I'm Supermoon Tarot, and today we are doing a March predictions. I'm super pumped for you guys because I think we can all agree the year started with a lot of expectations that didn't quite get met for a while. And now we're flowing, we're in the momentum of it all. We're starting to find our footing. We went from stumbling to walking. So now let's get into running. So I am specifically looking for events, like specific events, people, mindsets, anything that you need to focus on. Apparently a plague of crows. Whatever it is, we're going to be going over it today. As you can see, I have got 5 groups of cards, and there's a lot of cards. I went hard with this one. So I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group you resonate with most. I'm going to give you a second to do so. Now that you have, you can go down to the description below where you can skip to your designated timestamp. And yeah, let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's look at your March predictions. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, watermelon, tourmaline. This is an incredibly wonderful one to have. We have fixed moon, beggar in reverse, Knight of Cups upright, the High Priestess upright, the Lovers upright. Oh, okay. King of Cups in reverse, 2 of Swords upright. Yep, I know what this is. Okay, choices, Strength card upright. Let me just look at everything to make absolutely sure what I'm seeing is correct. Okay, I am so excited for you. Guess what? Whether you knew it or not, this is going to be a very romantic month for you. I am pretty excited. This is like, how do I put this? You're going to be feeling yourself, and others are going to know it, and you're going to have options. Yes, that's the theme of the month, options. So first off, let's talk about watermelon tourmaline. I've actually never seen one in person, but it's an incredibly awesome crystal to have in this particular case. So this says that for the month, you are going to be totally happy. Just like, when you can't explain it and you're just overwhelmed with joy, it's not just that things are going well, it's that you're feeling it completely. Sometimes things don't even have to be going perfectly. You're just in it for no reason. It's like that feeling of being in love, but there's no one there. You're just happy because you're happy. Just as unexplainable as it can be sometimes to all of a sudden feel sad or not, stressed out or something, you're going to be unexplainably happy this month, which is really awesome. But something that kind of raises up your happiness and just makes you filled with joy is your ability this month to find the sense of perfection in everything you're doing. It's like constantly seeing the positives no matter what, and admiring even the smallest of details and seeing how great and perfect they are just as they are. So again, you're feeling great, you notice things that make you feel even better, and it's just this beautiful cycle. I'm telling you, you're going to be parallelly joyful. Oh my, me trying to say words. Anyways, Now, the cool thing with this being a fixed moon is this is going to be something that is going to carry on throughout the entire month, which is so awesome. And something that most likely will continue longer. But the thing is, and we can't jump into April quite yet, that more just depends on how much you foster that happiness and teach it in yourself to be a habit. But definitely expect the just natural happiness to be surging through you. However, here's the thing. With the fixed moon, we have something going on, something that's going to be popping up this month that will, again, be going on for a while. This is not going to be something that's short. It will be carrying on, again, potentially longer than this month. So what is the theme? What is the thing? Well, you have 2 romantic partners popping up in your life, which is very cool. So like I said, you're feeling amazing. We have you represented by the High Priestess. And notice these 2 people bowing down to you. I'm telling you, you've got that kind of wonderful energy. You're just truly in your element of confidence and feeling good about yourself purely just for you. And other people are noticing it and will treat you as such. So definitely expect a lot of being treated well. It's more than just 2 people being into you. You're going to be like a lot of compliments, a lot of people admiring you. You just feel like you're connected to, especially with the tourmaline over here, this watermelon tourmaline, it's this feeling of knowing your intuition's like going well. And when you make decisions and do things, you don't even have to think about it twice, but more than just making it and not feeling guilt, these decisions, there's just this deep connection to the universe of being like, oh yeah, that was the right thing. That was the right drink I ordered, you know what I mean? And so as you're feeling great and you have definitely dominance in both of these situations where you're the one able to make decisions, you have the 2 people coming up. So this is where it gets kind of interesting because it just depends on what you're feeling and vibing. I'll be honest with you, I already know who you're going to pick ultimately in the end, but from the vibes of the cards, definitely have a good time for a little while and enjoy the options. So over here, we have one person. They feel like the first person that's going to come out to you. And this is the Knight of Cups. They're going to just be really cute, ask you out on a date. It's somebody admiring you from across the room at wherever you work or you're hanging out or, you know, whatever class or whatever. And they're going to be kind of sweet, a little bit bashful, but a little bit forward. And this nice little combination of, you know, humbleness, but forwardness is definitely going to be of interest of yours. And they're going to be pretty transparent with just, you know, who they are and how they feel. And it's just going to feel nice and easy peasy to kind of develop this little romance coming along. But the other person, they are a lot, how do I say this? Zestier, a little more mysterious, not so elusive. They're not hot and cold. They're not going to be hiding themselves from you. But they're super confident. They're very confident in how they like you. It's like, this is little sweetie pie, and this is like the second main character that pops up in the sequel, and that you're like secretly rooting for them now to be together kind of vibe. And let's continue on with those emotions because that's important to decide. As I can see over here in the 2 of Swords, it's going to be a little while before you necessarily pick one of them because there are pros to both. So I can definitely see you wanting to have a little bit more of that chiller, kind of like hang out in a cozy sweater and watch some Netflix vibes, and then wanting that kind of zesty, you can't explain it, you kind of can't keep your hands off each other vibes over here. Like there's benefits to both, and so, you know, you're a little bit undecided for a while. And guess what? Who cares? They're down to fight for you. You're having a great time feeling yourself. Like I said, you're going to have a great time enjoying all of this. But those vibes continue over here. And this is why I kind of already know who you're going to pick. So Strength card is our buddy over here. And they are, how do I say this? There will be an instant connection that will continue over into the bedroom, and it will be really nice, and you'll have a great time, and everyone's going to be happy. And like I said, that attraction is very strong in there. But there's a kind of, how do I say this? There's a sort of dominant, more, I don't want to say aggressive, like, how do I express this? It's like they're not trying to dominate your good vibes and ever feel jealous of you. It's more like they meet you as their equal. They love it. They have it. They want to be with someone else who can handle their good vibes, if that makes sense. Their power that they admit, they're very powerful. They've got that inexplainable, like a lot of, definitely expect other people to be very much looking towards this other person. It doesn't mean you're going to have competition. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if you look around and you notice people staring at them, because they're pretty darn cute. And then over here is where it's a little bit of a slip. So as sweet as this other person is and everything's great, there's a bit of unbalancedness emotionally from them that kind of continues over time. It's not really bad. It's not going to be something that ruins your day or really annoys you. It's very mild, but it does start to become like an insecurity, because they can see how well they don't feel. They can bring the same kind of, because their energy's so chill, they're kind of start to feel insecure about this person that has very confident, dominant energy. And it kind of leads to a little bit of codependency, a little bit of like the other person's not going to be as bothered that you're with someone else. And then this other person's going to start to be more bothered by them, if that makes sense. And it starts to kind of not be your cup of tea. You know, you want to keep feeling good and not have to deal with that sort of feelings. And it's like, how do I express this? It's not extreme highs and lows, but it's enough of an up and down that I just feel like there's such a genuine connection here, especially when I see the Lovers card popping up, that you don't want to feel like you're having to take care of someone. You feel like a strong king or queen, and you want your king or queen, if that makes sense. Not a really cute knight. Does that make sense? Does that feel right? For a while, it's like, oh yeah, I love having my cute knight, and I love having my cute king or queen. Like, that's what I'm all about. And then over time, you're going to realize how much you truly are worth and what you deserve, and what it makes the most sense cohesion-wise. And I'm just a little curious. Now, I kind of skipped ahead and already assumed that they're not going to overcome this, but I just want to check with the beggar card. It kind of implies this sense of like we talked about, pleading, asking you to choose them, feeling insecure. But with it being in reverse, it kind of could go either way, implying, oh, maybe they do overcome it, or it's repeating the idea that they don't. So let me pull a card to make absolutely sure. Yep, nope, they're not going to change. It's going to be a lot of promises and an effort made, but they're going to be kind of like moving around a lot, if that makes sense, without actually moving forward and improving from this. Again, just so it continues this positive vibe that you're aware of and know about. This is not going to be a huge deal when it starts to kind of become a little annoying to you. It just be a little annoying, and you'll start to be like, you know what, I kind of like hanging out with them more. That's all. It's just a mild annoyance. You get to have fun in the meantime, and you get a nice prize at the end. So have a good time. Be happy. Enjoy your choices, your romance. I am pumped for you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe, because it helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 2. To skidoo. Group number 2. I'm a little goofy this morning, but let's go with it. So let's talk about your March predictions. So let's look at your cards. Okay. We've got 10 of Cups, King of Swords, Page of Cups, 4 of Swords, the Devil in reverse, and the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, let me look. What kind of moon is it? Oh, look, you have good news coming your way. Good for you. Oh. Okay, so let's get a little serious here. So I can tell from the cards, especially with the Ten of Cups over here, that you have gone through a breakup, and this would be a pretty serious breakup. This would be someone, a pretty serious long-term relationship, someone that held a lot of weight in your life. And this month is all about healing from that breakup, but here's the cool part. Healing that gets really specific in how you heal and brings a final sense of conclusion, which then in turn allows you to be a lot more open to this good news coming your way. So I am so pumped for you. But let's get really specific here. So let's talk about this moon real quickly. This is how it starts out. There's a certain sense of surrendering to the healing. This is about finally, it's about regrouping by accepting that this big thing happened and now it's just time to chill. It's kind of like no expectations for the future, no pressure on how you feel now, taking each moment by moment. Sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're happy, whatever, just letting it flow, letting it be what it is and be like, I don't know when I'm going to get better. But by finally kind of just like not putting that pressure on yourself, it weirdly speeds up the process. Isn't that so weird and mysterious how we and the universe work together? Whatever, we just have to go with it. So anyways, this then leads to turquoise over here. So turquoise is all about storytelling and gaining a new sense of perspective, especially on the past. So by finally kind of surrendering to the whole process, that's when the healing kicks in. And this is when you start to look back at the past and kind of rewrite it the way that you need to in order to move on. This could be a combination of looking back at things that maybe once were happy, then the breakup happened, and unfortunately they feel more sorrow-filled when you look at them, but then finally going back and being like, you know what, but I did have a good time objectively there. And then enjoying that good time, that good memory. Or looking back at something and gaining a sense of clarity, which gives you closure. And overall realizing that when that person left, they did not steal a part of you. They did not diminish your light. You don't need to rebuild your light. Not at all. You have always been burning bright. And this sense of clarity that will naturally come upon you will give you back the part of the time you spent with them that it feels like they took away. You're gaining it back again for you, for your inner power. Your life was not wasted. These were still good times. You still learned. Everything was good, whether they are involved with it or not. It's like, you know, when you look back at photos, and unfortunately when we go through a breakup with someone really big, they're most likely in most of your photos. So this is like being able to look back at those memories in your brain, and it's like their face is suddenly blurred out. Let's say you went pumpkin patch picking. That was still a good time, and in your head you only see it for what it is. It was a good time. It's like they're not even there. Or you enjoyed, if you do want them there, they're there, you enjoyed them for what they are, and you're able to move on. Whatever it is, by chilling out and relaxing, your brain just naturally works itself out. And this is what then kicks in the victim card in reverse. Right now, it feels like you were attacked. You were hurt. You're attacking and hurting yourself right now. It feels like your world is caving in around you. And with this sort of new mentality that, you know, like we said, kicks in naturally on its own by finally surrendering to it and the healing, it's like that all changes. It all flips. There's a sense of empowerment that comes into you. There's a feeling of like taking control of your life, but taking control even with the healing process that can be kind of painful for most people. So like I said over here with the Ten of Cups, again, we're continuing to be specific. We have that really specific longer-term relationship being defined. It was a happy one. It was serious for you. For some of you, you thought maybe you really did have a family with them, or you were hoping to one day, whatever your pursuits were. And then we have you kind of finding your place again in the world outside of them with the King of Swords. The King of Swords is really great because this is all about a combination of you gaining a sense of clarity and truth on the situation, and therefore, again, not feeling so wrapped up in your emotions. It's like you're more taking on like a mental state, if that, a mental state. You're more focused on like the thinking and facts and objective, like how it is, rather than how it emotionally affected you and letting your emotions kind of bog and drown you in the process. You know what I mean? But it's also about gaining a sense of routine. Again, once we go through a serious breakup, it's hard to remember life before them. This is the month that you naturally start going, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk every day. I don't feel my best, but I know every day when I'm done doing whatever I need to do for the day, I go for this walk. But the thing is, this is not only something that gives you sort of foundation and gives you something you can kind of lean on like a crux, but routines and habits build powerful things in the long term. One day when you feel better and you wake up as you go through this process, it's like all of a sudden getting on the scale and being like, wow, all those walks actually led to me, gaining this awesome body and feeling really good about myself or whatever. And so think of it in that way. It's like stability that gains into something else. It's great in the beginning because for what it is, but it evolves into something even better. But it also talks about the act of gaining new skills. And when I say routine can be anything. It can be just getting out of bed and simply making the, bed in the morning. Or it can be, again, gaining some new fun sort of skill, or you join a group of people that maybe they like to cook or whatever. Because the big angel number I see popping up here is 532. And 532 is about skill building, but it's specifically about the idea that it's important to keep learning in life and not solely focus on the end goal. That even when we reach the end goal, there should always continue to be new learning, new growth. That the end goal is not this, so if we looked at like a bunch of things in line, a lot of people see the end goal as like a bigger, situation, a bigger, like if these were all dots, this is like a bigger dot. When you should in fact see this big, reaching some sort of goal point that you have for yourself as one smaller dot that's equal to everything else. And that then you keep learning, you keep growing, you keep going more. So it's about focusing by pursuing this skill and this goal. You're seeing in the relationship that there is no end focal point to a relationship, whether it ends, whether it begins. Romance is something that is a garden that needs to be continuously tended to. And so it's okay that this didn't happen the way you wanted to. You'll find someone else, and that will be great. And you'll have a great time before them, after them, during, with them. And you'll start to kind of see, it will take away the painful weight of certain of life events, but it'll also make you appreciate everything as a whole and understand how important it is to not give up on yourself, to keep growing and learning that this is not the end. You know what I mean? Now, we talked about the good news, and we're going to get more into specific good news because as you're feeling good about yourself, you're building this routine, you're gaining this sense of clarity, everything like that, that's when the good news comes in. But I do want to talk about, there is a sense of, this Page of Cups also talks about emotional maturity. Like we talked about clarity on situations. And the main clarity I can see over here, again, the Four of Swords is depicting like the moon, you chilling out, you relaxing, just being like, you know what, I'm not going to see anyone, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to relax. The main thing I see over here is that you start to realize that this person you no longer are with only promised broken promises. They were not somebody, you kind of start to realize, they said we were going to do this, they said we were going to do this. You realize, well, it was never going to add up to anything, so is it that bad that I'm not with them anymore? You know what I mean? Like your brain starts to click and realize the situation as it was. Especially when I see the Devil card in reverse, this is about breaking free from an unhealthy situation, but unhealthy relationships are so wide and large. They can have very serious tones to them, or it can just be like, it's unhealthy that you're in a situation where they kind of keep dangling you along of what could be or what will be, and they're kind of, when it starts to become a situation where they're messing with who you are as a person, then yeah, it's time to get out of there. And that this is kind of like a positive affirmation that like, yes, it might have been really sad that it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, but in the end, you really escaped something that I kind of get the feeling that it wouldn't be the type of thing you would know was not beneficial for you for a good like 10 or 20 years. And then when you would realize it, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? It's not something we realize because of like social norms and situations we think we need to fulfill and blah, blah, blah. But this is part of the clarity that comes into it, realizing like it was all for the best and who they really were kind of situation. Now I want to look into real quickly before we end this, like what is this good news coming your way? Because good news is always vague. Okay. Okay, tarot's being vague. So if you're reading tarot yourself, understand that sometimes our spirit guides, tarot, they just don't want to tell you. And I know that sounds wild, but sometimes the lack of clarity is due to it being beneficial you not knowing, because let's say you're in a state right now where you're healing and I tell you there's going to be a new relationship around the corner. You might not even focus on the healing because you're so focused on the new relationship, if that makes sense. So tarot seems to be being vague because they know that you can't hear the specifics right now, but that's okay. So 10 of Swords is like, it wasn't great, the ending of the relationship. We already know that. This represents this. But then over here, one of your gifts of just general good news coming your way is a sense of clarity and closure, and like feeling really in tune with yourself and feeling like you finally understand things, and you've gained back your sense of good judgment and reasoning, and that's awesome and good, and that's definitely a gift within itself. But the Wheel of Fortune is really more where I'm looking at. It looks like that you've gained a lot of positive karma, which is really awesome. And the Wheel of Fortune is a super ambiguous positive omen of saying like good things are coming your way, good fortune, good. So again, this could relate to a relationship, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm getting a much stronger either money vibe, like some sort of, sorry, I'm being told something that does with like just like one big ambiguous like thing they get, like a one extra promotion one time kind of thing, or it feels like this positive opportunity, like life is getting easier for you because you're getting a better shift or whatever the situation is. Whatever it is, we're not getting specifics, unfortunately, but like I said, you heal this month, so therefore without having to do anything, you're being offered something. Remember, you don't have to do anything, just heal, and it will come to you. So pretty darn cool. I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed delivering. I hope your healing process is as lovely and as beneficial and hopefully quick as it can be. Either way, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe on this video. It helps out like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. How many times can I say either way? Oh my goodness. I'm wishing you the best. Let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out what's going on in your March predictions. We've got Amber, third quarter moon. Oh. Okay. Oh my God, chill. 4 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, 6 of Cups, and the World. Okay, this is going to be a whirlwind. Give me a second. What moon did I say that was again? That was Amber, right? Okay. Okay, so this is going to get a little bit messy, but in a good way, because sometimes situations in life are complex. I have nothing negative to say to you. There's nothing bad here. I don't want to freak you out. In fact, actually, I have a lot of good news to tell you about. But in this circumstance, for this particular subject, for many people, it is a complex situation. So let me stop being vague. Let's get into this. So specifically with Amber over here, this talks about family. Now, we're going to keep it pretty general and vague because this is a general reading. So when I'm talking about this, your definition of family doesn't have to necessarily be your actual family. It can be a friend group that you consider your family. Whatever it is, it's some sort of group that you're incredibly close with that feels complex. It's not necessarily always positive and not necessarily always negative. Now, I can definitely tell you here with the 3/4 moon we've got hidden underneath here that it seems there is a very complex situation going on with them where oftentimes it feels like the family, your family, can make you want to pull away from them. They mean well, but it kind of hurts your feelings or puts you down in some sort of way. Now, the thing is, the theme for this month is a combination of acceptance and understanding the good things that can come out of this situation, releasing the bad, but here's the big one, gaining something, and something that's worth gaining. Keep that in mind. I have incredibly good news for you, but we have to stick around for all of this. Now, the three-quarter moon talks about the idea of that you're essentially some sort of a bottle or a vessel. You're a container for things that happen to you, good and bad. And whatever you fill yourself up with is what you contain. And this is kind of like a loving message to say, hey, have you been feeling like a bunch of negative stuff has been kind of seeping into you lately? Has that not been feeling great? And this is kind of you starting to set your boundaries, especially with this card over here, and say, I don't want this no more. I don't want to be treated this way anymore. And it's not necessarily just drawing a line in the sand. It's trying to redirect these people that affect your life so heavily towards more positive things. They start to say something that upsets you, you pulling away and go, let's talk about this. Or in the moment saying, hey, I don't want to talk about that, or don't talk to me like that. Whatever it is, it's some form of saying, I'm taking control of the situation. I've had too much of your negativity. I will not take it anymore. And understanding that you do have more control than you realize with the ups and downs of what you experience. You don't have to solely get stuck in, often when we're in complex family situations, it's easy to get stuck on the fact that you want to do something, immediately telling yourself, oh, they're going to say no, or this is how it's going to go in my head, and then just focusing on only that. It's about moving forward, taking action, and redirecting the energy the way you want it to go. Now over here, this card's really important because it's all about being true to yourself. Often we feel like, if again, going back to the complex situation, that we were one way, and sometimes these people can negatively affect us and we don't like it. We start to lose a sense of ourselves because we become so guarded, and we feel maybe even jaded by these people, and we feel like they took a part of our innocence, or a part of our true form that is untouched, untainted by a defensive nature. This is about how this month you're kind of reconnecting to who you are and realizing no one can ever take that away from you. As it's like, no matter what they throw at you, you say to yourself, I'm going to defend myself, but I'm also still allowed to believe in the world, believe the best in people, even believe maybe potentially the best in them. And really realizing that that's something that you want, you're going to focus on, and you're going to really, what's that word? Embody, emanate, you know what I mean? Which is really beautiful. Because over here in the Four of Pentacles down here, I can see that you've been guarded for some time. Your family's kind of kept you in a situation where you've been unable to move necessarily forward, because it feels like every time you do, they kind of steal a little bit of your energy and who you are. And so therefore you've constantly been in reserve for a while, and you're done with it. You're done with it, you want to bloom, you want to shine, and you're allowed to. But in order to bloom and shine, you kind of need to overcome this hurdle that's going to be a skip and a bounce and a jump to something way better. So the Amber card specifically talks about understanding the good things you can receive from your family, and understanding how, even if it's painful, there are beneficial lessons to be learned from them. Like, you might resent them, but they might have good advice, or have something that it's like, despite another thing they said, something else is still valid. And when we have the Three of Pentacles, it shows you and them coming together and saying, you know what can I? It's like ignoring the past and going, you know what? I'm going to come at this being my true self. I'm going to let go of the pain. And in this moment, what can I benefit from them? How can we work together? How can I understand them? Maybe this doesn't work, but how can we be a better team? Because even though there seems like a lack of cohesion emotionally, and it feels like there's some difference of opinions, there is something that works here. There's some way you guys all benefit each other, and that is why there's kind of like a butting of heads or odd feeling. It's like everybody's got something beneficial that they need from the other one, but also can't let go of their own opinion like most families. And so that's where they seem like they more jumble up. So this is about you taking control of the situation and saying, I'm getting rid of the negativity. We're focusing on the positive. How can we work together better and understand each other? Now, this is really important because as you start to take on this emotionally mature feelings, there's a sense of like healing. There's a sense of understanding. There's a sense of taking hold of your situation. And in that in that turn, there's a sense of healing this month, which then leads to not only a nice cohesion of the family and you feeling like you get to be yourself again and feel like you have more control in your life. You can really let down your guard because there's no guard to put up because no one can ever take anything away from you. That then leads, especially when we have the Ace of Pentacles and especially when we have the Queen of Pentacles, it looks like one of them has a job opportunity for you. They know somebody. I can see it's an older female. And when I say older, again, because we're talking about family in such a large general stance, older can be like a year older than you. Maybe this is an older sister, you know what I mean? An older cousin. It can be a much older female, but I'm just making that to be clear because when people hear the term older, they set that bar too high. So it is an older female, and it looks like they have some sort of opportunity for you, a new job opportunity. And again, it looks like this is somebody, again, I keep getting family thing when we talk about this is somebody from your past. This can refer to this just purely being someone from your past as in purely your family. You've known them your whole life. They've been in the past. But this can be like maybe of the older female, this is a friend of theirs from the past. They need someone to fulfill this position. There's some form of like, by you understanding and accepting the past, see how this like beautiful thing you're going through feels like a lesson within itself. By you understanding and accepting what you can benefit from the past, you then truly benefit from the past, and this past person that they knew gives you this job opportunity. And get excited for this job opportunity because when I not only see the Queen of Pentacles, it looks like it pays very well. It seems like you have some form of position where you're going to be kind of more independently working. Like you're not going to be necessarily in a group, if that makes sense, in a good way. So you're going to have a lot of personal control. But with the World card, this definitely does imply there's going to be a pretty dramatic shift change for you. This is like getting a job and then getting to move to a whole new city. This is being able to, maybe you were living at home and now you get to have a new like apartment on your own and really feel like your own adult or whatever this is. It's a huge dramatic positive shift, not only in your physical world, but in the way you see the world, because it's life-changing when you go from maybe roommates to living on your own. You know what I'm saying? So whatever the situation is, it's a really positive job opportunity. But by you going through this, you not only gain a sense of closure and understanding and being able to move on, it's like you're basically saying to the universe and yourself, I'm ready to move on. And then they go, okay, now you can move. So stay strong. Remember, you have control of the situation. Remember, they focus on who you are. They can't take that from you. If you feel defensive, remember, you don't have to take on that energy. You can more focus on who you truly are and then embody it and let it drown out the rest. Understand what you can, how you do work well together, find a sense of harmony for what it is, and then let that opportunity present itself and be open-minded to it, because as you get along, they're going to be more willing to throw that your way. So again, complex, but a lot of good coming from it. So get excited. March is going to be a definitely emotionally maturing and financially beneficial month for you, which is awesome. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out what are your March predictions by looking at the cards. We have Jade, Full Moon, Warrior upright, 3 of Cups upright, 9 of Swords upright, 8 of Wands upright, Ace of Pentacles upright, Queen of Cups in reverse, and Page of Cups in reverse. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so you gotta listen to the whole thing. I have some good stuff to say, but you need to hear everything in order to receive that good stuff. So I do see a wonderful opportunity coming your way. We're going to pull some more cards to get specific about what that opportunity is. It's like a good thing being physically given to you, but that could range from anything from like a job to a gift, or you know what I mean? But whatever it is, it feels very much, especially with the full moon popping up, like this is something that you really want. This is like a big thing. And you're asking for it and you're receiving it, which is awesome. But the cards come with a heavy warning that you're battling something else internally that month, and you kind of need to be aware of it and hear about it in order to say no to that and accept the good stuff. So I can tell over here with the Nine of Swords, the Queen of Cups, and the Page of Cups, this is like a heavy anxiety, putting yourself down, insecurity. It's just a certain state of mind, it seems like you're internally battling with. And when I see these cards, it kind of feels like you have good reason, like things have happened to you in order to put you in that state. And this has kind of been like an ongoing issue for you, and it's a bit consuming, unfortunately, and I'm so sorry you deal with that. So we're going to go into it a little bit, but there's some good stuff. I just need you to hear this in order to understand it, in order to face it, to then talk about all the good things around you. So I can tell over here with the Nine of Swords, especially being upright, this is when you feel overwhelmed, but you have good reason to be overwhelmed. Like something happened and now you're reacting appropriately. So one, you need to know that your emotions are valid. It is okay. You're not overthinking something that really wasn't fun to experience. I'm so sorry you're now dealing with the results of it. However, you're kind of being forewarned to not let it consume you. Don't let it define you. Now, I know that's easier said than done. We're going to go into that. Don't worry. But then over here, we have the Queen of Cups and the Page of Cups in reverse, turning away from this opportunity over here in the Ace of Pentacles. The Queen of Cups is the result of this overwhelming feeling. Now, I do want to point out for some of you, this could have been a situation with other people, like a friend group that caused you to feel upset and anxious, but especially with the Three of Cups being upwards and what I'm being told, this is more of like a positive thing we're going to be talking about, and I feel it, I'm mentioning it, but I don't feel strongly that was the cause, I'll be honest with you, but we'll talk about that in a second. So anyways, the Queen of Cups talks about when we're not trusting ourselves and our inner voice, and we start to then feel off emotionally, and these feelings lead to a lack of trust in ourselves, which then leads to the Page of Cups. This is when things don't work out. This is broken dreams. This is also starting to ignore, like the more you distrust yourself, the more you're not paying attention to what your inner voice and your natural intuition, which it doesn't say anything about your intuition being bad. Like you know what to do, you know how to live life, but you're kind of just suppressing yourself and throwing yourself out of whack and allowing something to start kind of manifesting and kind of lead into one chain reaction after another. But this doesn't mean that the thing that you would like to happen and that you're going to receive is going to turn out negatively. Not at all, not at all. In fact, this is just something that you're kind of battling with and that you're going to be battling with a little bit in March. However, and this is where the however comes in, that does not mean that you're going to battle it forever. We've got the Warrior and some good stuff going on with the Jade. So Jade talks about the idea of like what you have inside you is good enough. It talks about the idea of little tiny treasures hidden within you, that there's something already there right now that is enough. People don't talk about it enough, but a very tiny crystal is just as potent and as powerful as an enormous one. And you've got a ton of little small ones that you may have not noticed that have been hidden within you all along, little treasures, little good parts about yourself. Do not let this overwhelming feeling mask or take away your attention from the inner power that you have within you. Do not let it consume you. Start to refocus on the good things about you, the things that make you who you are. Use that as your fuel to fight back. And we do talk about Warrior. This is a little bit of kind of fighting on these emotional states head on and saying, no, I will not give in to this. I will not take this. Yes, that thing happened. Yes, that wasn't great to experience. That was horrible, but I will not define it. I will not let it consume me. It is an active thing. It is an aggressive thing, but in a positive way, because you do need to hear that what you're experiencing isn't made up in your head, that it is valid, but you also need to say, yeah, but I'm not going to accept it. And so there's a bit of fighting back with this in a good way. I know some people don't want to hear that, but this is something that you are overcoming in a really positive way. But that then leads
to the full moon. Full moon is awesome. It is an explosion. It is a turning point. It is a conclusion. It is a lot of things. It is a big moment in a timeline. And the cool thing is we have a bunch of big moments happening. We have you fighting back, finding your inner strength and overcoming these feelings, pushing these out of the way. So there's this huge explosion of an epiphany, of understanding, of taking hold. But the full moon also acts as, when we talk about this sense of like explosion, this big event happening, it also acts as a form of manifestation. It is about a long-held dream finally coming true. So this is an Ace of Pentacles saying, ask for it, and this is saying you're receiving it. So during this time period, this is you in the beginning of the month saying, or you can even do it right now before you go into March and say, this is the thing I want. I deserve to have it, I'm allowed to have it, and I'm receiving it right now. And this big opportunity comes in fast, especially when we have the full moon and especially when we have the Eight of Wands. This is quick, without notice. You are shocked by it. It's going to hit you in the back hard and fast. Do not allow these emotions to consume you and take you away from your attention from it happening. It's happening. It's going to come at you no matter how you're feeling, but allow yourself to receive it. Now, I do want to pull cards to find out what is this opportunity, because opportunities are very vague. I want to get a little more specific. I do want to talk about the Eight of Cups, though. I'm sorry, the Three of Cups before I get into here. This is kind of a loving. I often find spirit guides are pretty whimsical most of the time, and they often suggest that you heal by going and having fun. That don't overthink social outings. Don't put expectations on them. Even if you feel after you leave a social gathering and you're starting to question how you came across to people or blah, 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 you're going to kind of need to just let that go to the wind and just be like, whatever happened, happened. I can't think about it now. Kind of just be like, I'm not going to think about that now. And only focus on, when we talk about only focusing on the good within you, only focus on the fun times you can have with other people, because it's kind of what you need right now in order to pull yourself out of your mindset by just kind of taking a break from yourself and being filled with good times, events. And often, especially when I see this popping up over here, it seems like something to do with the social event leads to this, like you run into someone. It's not a specific personal connection. It's just something to do with the social gathering. Like maybe you go to a specific event and that lets you know about the specific thing, this opportunity, whatever it is. But see how this overwhelming feeling kind of is like the sword, the wall in between the fast acting opportunity and awareness of it and the social event. So don't let that be an issue, so to speak. Again, totally understandable. Just pulling cards. Totally understandable that you would feel it's difficult. It is going to be a bit of a fight, but trust me, you're going to get this. You have things to now focus on. Okay, what is this opportunity? Oh, sorry, I'm bumping everything. Okay, Ace of Pentacles again. The Devil and Ace of Wands. All right, we're going to be really vague, aren't we? I don't know what it is today. I've noticed sometimes, okay, so with spirit guides and tarot, sometimes they're not specific. If you ever are pulling cards for yourself and you're like, why am I not getting specifics? Sometimes knowing the future can make us focus on it too much, and we can overthink it and we're looking out for it too much, kind of thing. So sometimes they don't want to tell us what it is, so we can relax and just let it happen. Like we can't handle knowing the truth, if that makes sense. So the Devil card represents this kind of reoccurring unhealthy habit you've put yourself into, where you're consumed by these bad feelings, you beat yourself up, you're allowing it to go on and on and on, and it's something that, if you notice these both cards, this new opportunity is pulling you away from it, which is really great. So as you push it away, these feelings, and you fight and you hold on to the better viewpoints and stuff like that, this opportunity comes in and pulls you even further away from these negative emotions. This is a huge positive turning point in this mindset you've been in, which is great. So it's still being vague, unfortunately, but I can tell you that it is something that you're extremely passionate about. And I'll just be honest, I'm getting a really strong like it is something to do with your career. I know Ace of Pentacles, people just blindly always say it's career-oriented, but it's not always. In this case, I do feel that it is something oriented around a career, some sort of, but this could be anything from like a promotion. This could be just a different position. Maybe they are allowing you to go on some trip that represents the company you work for. Whatever it is, it's something that you're really excited about, and you find a deep sense of happiness in being involved, and it gets you really excited and energetic. So either way, really awesome, really excited for you. Keep up the good fight. You've got this. Ask for it, you shall receive. Focus that you are good enough as you are. No one took anything away from you. It's still within you. Look for it, focus on it, and fight. Understand that if it feels difficult fighting these emotions, they keep coming back. That's okay. You've got a sharper willpower and mentality than this part of yourself has to attack you. You are stronger than it. Just remember that. So, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number five. Let's look at your March predictions. Let's look at your cards. Okay. We've got Page of Swords upright, 10 of Swords upright, 4 of Cups upright, 9 of Pentacles in reverse, the Hangman in reverse, ooh, and 4 of Pentacles in reverse. That's awesome. Okay. Okay, I'm definitely connecting to a mindset. There's some sort of like epiphany here. Hold on. I'm sorry. Sometimes these are not super easy to read. Okay, what's going on here? Interesting. Okay, hold on. I need to know, there's something needs to like be fixed up over here, and I just need to understand what that is. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, this is an interesting one. Okay, so we're going to be going through sort of a renovation of sorts with you this month, over March. This is incredibly good for your third eye, and this is, honestly, it's kind of a big month for you in a positive way. It's going to end really positively, and there's you're going to really appreciate and enjoy the person you are at the end of the month, but I can see there's some things you're going to have to kind of look inwards and face and just kind of like go over. It's a positive thing. You're meant to go through it. Sometimes we have to, and that's all right. The good news is there's nothing bad happening to you. It's just more of like a self-evaluation month. It's kind of like you're realizing some things about yourself and you're understanding them in order to, consider them like your blockages, the things in life that hold you back. And this is you like becoming aware of them without having to go through some life lesson learning. Like sometimes life lessons are not fun and they're painful. You're not going to have to be going through this. This is like your own personal epiphany by yourself, which is great. So let's talk about all of that. I do want to give the encouraging message before I even get into like, we're going to talk about some stuff and then we're going to end on some positive stuff. But the first encouraging message I want to talk about is over here with the waxing crescent moon. This is kind of saying that, listen, March is not going to be the month where all your dreams come true and you receive that thing that you want, but that doesn't mean you won't next month. This is a moon that pops up to say that you're in the process. This month is a process. And it's kind of the like, don't give up card, that you need to keep moving forward. You're in it. It's very Seven of Pentacles. If you're familiar with the Seven of Pentacles, that is when you're working on something. You can't see the results quite yet, but it is going to add up to something and you're going to receive it. But sometimes it becomes discouraging along the way when you don't see the results. So you are growing. Something is changing. Something is being attracted to that you've wanted, and you're in the pursuit of that right now, but you're not going to necessarily see it in the moment, if that makes sense. So this is kind of like your encouraging card of being like, keep going, you got this. You haven't gone backwards, you've only gone forwards. But I can tell over here with the child wounded, this is clearly, and I see with the Ten of Swords, this is something that is an old and very deep-rooted, painful. This could be a memory. This could be just like an old habit you put yourself through. Whatever it is, something is very deep-rooted in you to keep putting you in a position where it's painful, it's messy. You look at it and you're like, why, how did I end up here? This could be a bad relationship, and this can be bad friendships as well. Whatever it is, it's like you're kind of facing that and overcoming it this month. So, which is good. Now, Amethyst is the first encouraging thing. It says, you're ready. It's now time to go off autopilot, and it's time to face your habits. And we're talking about habits, old past things that you've gone through, and it's kind of like a self-evaluation time period to say you're ready for it, you're capable of it, and by finally facing what you do or don't like, you can shape your life and who you are as a person to be the person you want to be and have the life that you want. But this is the month to evaluate things. Again, I just want to keep specifying this. Many people need to go through something in order to learn these things. The beautiful thing is this is just a contemplation month for you. Nothing is going to happen to you, nothing bad. So I just want to preference how lucky you are and how beautiful it is that you get to, with ease and leisure, kind of look over some things and really some stuff about yourself. So as you're evaluating yourself and you're getting the encouragement that this evaluation is leading to something really positive and you're facing these old wounds, we have this kind of thing going on over here. So the Ten of Swords is the bad thing. This would be very monumentally hard that you've been through. This is not just, some bad stuff has happened along the way. This is something that really, really deeply bothered you. And you feel like you keep being drawn to it over and over again, or situations like it. Now, we have over here the Four of Cups representing the sort of motivation. It seems like when you get yourself in these situations, and unfortunately I'm seeing by the Fool, it is you choosing to get into these situations. This is an unknowing habit. I'm not personally trying to attack you. This is just what the cards are saying. When you feel like dissatisfied in life, you move towards this thing because you feel it will then give you the satisfaction you're not receiving on your own. Totally understandable, normal way people think when they go, I'm not happy here. If I have this, then I'll be happy. That's how the world works. But over here, we have the Page of Swords. This is like really great positive news that can come your way. It can be anything from somebody reaching out to you and letting you know they like you, to just hearing about you won some free trip, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. But it's about delayed good news. So again, we talk about the delay, there's a delay. This thing that you're overcoming this month is going to remove that delay and finally get you closer to what you actually want out of life and want from yourself and whatever you're dreaming and wishing for. So over here, the epiphany that I was talking about before is that we have the Fool card in reverse. This is basically, it's always hard for me to express this because it comes across very harsh and many people have trouble hearing about it, but I know you got this. You can hear this. This is when you put yourself in a position knowingly that it's going to be a gamble, that it most likely will be harmful to you in some way. You know better. You're like, it's like going back to someone you know you shouldn't be with. Like, and you just keep doing it. So there's a bit of that. Once you're aware of that, you can at least address it. But you might not fully be aware that that's the main crux. It's like you get bored, you go towards something, and often, I will say this, many people put themselves in a risky position out of boredom, out of feeling like it's not always just a personally like you're harming yourself in some way, and maybe you feel on a deep level you think that you deserve it. You don't. It's more of, usually it's mistakes intentionally because you're bored. And again, not because you're taking your life for granted, nothing like that. It's just people have different ways of dealing and approaching and handling stuff. And it's almost like this feeling of, you know what it is? Sorry, Spirit's like talking to me. It's kind of this feeling where when you finally are away from the bad thing, you're not sure how to elevate to the next level of happiness. So you well, if I can't move forward, I'll go back to what I'm familiar with. Does that make sense? And so you just kind of jump towards it because that's what you know. It's easier to jump off a cliff than climb up it, if that makes sense. And again, we talk about what you're familiar with. But then where the renovation or the change needs to happen in order to receive this good stuff that seems to like kind of be delayed, it's being prevented from this kind of old habits, this stuff that you keep going back towards, is in the Nine of Wands. It's like we have you being so proactive moving towards this, but then at the same time, it causes you, understandably, to be very defensive and kind of locked up and put up your walls because you've been through so much. Again, this is something that's been happening for a while. It's very deep rooted. And the thing is, this is where the whole like epiphany happens. It's realizing how you put yourself there, the results of it, and you're it's creating this sandwich around the problem. And so therefore it's not letting anything else in, anything to be learned. It's kind of like you need to remove the pieces of bread of pain and these habits in order to finally cut this out of your life and purely get the good news that you deserve when you're feeling bored and you feel like even-tempered, like you no longer need to be hurt, you feel neutral, then you're able to feel this good stuff. Does this make sense? Sometimes I hear myself and I'm trying to speak as broad as I can because this is a general reading, so hopefully this is going through. But then over here, we talk about the good news coming your way. So the Nine of Pentacles is when you're feeling overly dependent on other people's like opinions. Maybe you just need them. It's a lack of independence. And understandably, there is this feeling of going back to this person or putting yourself in this position because again, we talk about the motivation out of boredom, not really sure how to move forward. It's all drenched in your habits and everything like that. But the beautiful thing this month is the Hangman. I love this for you. This is such a beautiful blessing. This is when you are moving forward, whether you're ready or not. This is saying that good things are going to be coming into your life after this month and the process of your healing, whether you're ready or not for it. You might as well take some time to deal with this and address it and face it and handle it and understand it in order to evolve and feel the most enjoyment from experiencing this. But even if you're not, you're still being forced into the universe. Like I always talk about how with tarot cards and the way things work, sometimes stuff is fated, sometimes you can change stuff. And in this particular situation, it's fated that you're going to be given opportunities and pushed into a different environment. And you might as well be ready to continue to receive them, if that makes sense. So you are going to be dealing with some stuff, like handling with it, like facing it, but then by the end of the month being like forcibly pushed out forward in life, which is really great, which then leads to the Four of Pentacles reverse. This shows that you were at a time where you were very limited. You did not feel like you could give yourself to other people. You only had so much to give. So there was a lot of like hold back, pull back. You see what I'm saying? And this shows the opposite. You're finally ready. You're opening yourself up to be able to be more emotionally open. You're opening yourself up in general as like a person. This is often a very I consider it like an aggressive carefree attitude while like the Fool is just like you were bored and nothing ever happened to you and you're free-spirited and pure and don't know anything else other than that. This is like aggressively being like, okay, I've been through stuff, I'm not taking anymore, we're having fun. We're having fun. I have to reconnect with what that means, but we're doing it. So like I said, it's a really positive ending, happy month, and the idea and the things that you want aren't necessarily happening exactly this month, but they are forming. You are moving forward. Contemplating this stuff is not a step backward. It is in fact a step forward. You're cleaning yourself out. You are at a point where you're able to, you can handle it. You're going to deal with some stuff that is going to relinquish you from something that's been holding you back for a really long time. So I'm really excited for you. I'm excited for your evolution. I'm excited for you feeling good. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a beautiful day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!